Hi, I'm Jennifer Blaze.
Today we're going to be going over assignments. This should be a complete overview of assignments and the submission type. I'm a camp counselor. I'm the ITS at Salem High School and Green Run High School. Please feel free to join me on Twitter or to email me anytime at jeblaze@vbschools.com with any questions whatsoever, and I will do my best to get you the best answer I can. This session aligns with the knowledgeable, and using Canvas as a learning management system will help empower students succeed both as learners, workers, and as citizens. I'm not going to read this slide to you, but hopefully this overview will give you more information on the Synergy gradebook and grading Passback. And instructors will also be able to see the assignment index page and the difference between using the index page and going directly through modules. We'll look at the rich context editor. We will also look at assignments with due dates and how they will populate in the calendar with grades, the syllabus, and the to-do list for both students and teachers. And like I said, we'll look at all those different assignment types. Our learning intentions, again, review those requirements for Synergy Passback. It is not a requirement at this time to use Synergy Passback. Stay tuned to your school's principal and ITSs for any information on requirements within Canvas, because it will be up to your school's administrators and ITSs on your exact requirements. We're also going to look at the assignment index page to set up assignments and what that looks like versus going through modules. We're going to explore all of the submission types and how to create an online assignment. It's a lot to do, so let's get started. Again, the intention of this course is that you have already gone through the training provided by your ITS earlier. So the hope is that you are already slightly familiar with the setup inside of Synergy. At any time, please feel free to pause this, go to Canvas, look and see where things are, follow along with me. But the beauty of this is that you can pause this recording at any time and go play around and then come back for the next steps or review what I've already gone over and listen to it again for more clarity, hopefully. All right, so getting started. Grade Passback through Synergy is going to be available. Again, it's not necessarily mandatory by the division at this time to use it, but it is an option for you, and that's a big hooray for a lot of teachers that were waiting for that to be an option. So this would be for graded assignments, discussions, quizzes. In order for this to work, first you need to make sure that inside of Synergy, your grading assignment types are already created. So these would be your assignment types, and you would need this to be set up ahead of time. From there, you will go into Canvas and set up your grading groups, and I'm going to show you this in Canvas in a moment. And then you need to make sure that each of these assignment types matches exactly with your grading groups inside of Canvas. So it's performance evaluation here, performance evaluation there. I can't add an S and make it evaluations in one spot and not the other. It has to look exactly the same. It's classwork here, it's classwork here. It has to, again, be the same. So let's take a look at that. I look at that inside of Canvas. So this is my Canvas dashboard. I'm going to go into my sandbox, and to create those assignment grading categories, I would go to the assignments tab here, and then I'm going to set up an assignment group. This is what has to match exactly with what I have inside of Synergy. So if one of my assignment types here is weekly opener, that's a grading category, then that's what I need it to match with exactly inside of Canvas. You need to make sure that everything is exact. It cannot look different or it's not going to work. So then I'm going to hit save. So I have some extra things here, but here's my weekly opener. I need to make sure that that's the same. And then I would have one for classwork and performance evaluation and assignment. So that's what I need to make sure matches up. These are the requirements once you are creating the assignments. So the category I just did was weekly opener. If I'm to add an assignment here to weekly opener, it's going to be an assignment. And then for the name, so I can name this what I want. I'm going to call this week 1 opener. Going to give it a due date and give it points. Save and publish, we'll save it and obviously publish it so that it is visible to students. If I just want to save it for my own use right now, I'm going to hit save. This is just creating one fresh, not bringing it over from Schoology. If I were to have already had these created inside of Synergy and then brought them in, I would just then have to make sure that they go into the correct category within assignments. That's not the same as organizing your modules so that students see them. So if this is my unit 1, I can have my weekly opener at the start of this lesson 1 welcome in my module, and that is completely different than where I have it categorized inside of assignments. So I don't want to be confusing how I organize things in assignments versus how they are organized in the modules that the students will be seeing. Students don't ever have to see this assignment section. This is being organized for me as the teacher, for grading purposes, completely separate from how the order I'm teaching all of my materials inside of my modules. So again, how things are organized inside of my assignments is going to be according to my Synergy categories, not according to my lesson plan and what is happening day to day. So I hope that makes sense, that this is my modules section and it is not going to match up with how or the order of how things are placed inside of my assignments. So weekly opener 1, week 2 opener. So these are my openers. And then in classwork, I would have another grading group for classwork. And if I have classwork as one word here, then I have to have classwork as one word here. Classwork, no S, no spaces, and make sure it matches. And it does. So that would be another section, and all of my classwork then would be added here or sorted here into where they go according to assignment type. This also is so that if I have these weighted differently inside of Synergy, if assignments are worth more than the weekly opener, which they very well may be, this is how Canvas will know what the weight is. So if classwork is 35% of the grade, anything that is assigned under this assignment group will be worth 35%. If weekly openers are 10%, then everything in this section under this group will be worth 10%. And so that's why we have to categorize things here in these groups for grading purposes. Now, just a reminder, inside of your sandbox, you're not going to see this sync to SIS checkbox because it's a sandbox. Once you have your Synergy rostered Canvas courses, then you will see this sync to SIS and you'll just check that this is something that's summative and needs to be graded and sent back to Synergy. So your assignment index page, teachers can use this assignment index page to view and manage all of your assignments, quizzes, and graded discussions. That's what we were working on here. This is your assignment index page. The best practice would be to organize all student materials inside of modules for day-to-day, as I was saying earlier, and then hide that assignment index page from student navigation, because what students need to see would be these modules and how you are laying out your assignments day-to-day. So here's your Unit 1 my lesson 1, my lesson 2. Each of these items, they're not all going to be in the same assignment index page category. So this page is for the modules. This is where I organize day-to-day flow of work. And as you can see, this is published for students to view. My assignment page is turned off from student view. They don't need to see this page. This is just for me as the teacher to see the flow of assignments according to how they'll be graded. All right, if that is as clear as mud right now, I promise it will be clearer once you do this on your own. I want you to take some time now to pause this video, go into your Sandbox course, click on the assignments in the left navigation, and go ahead and complete these activities for yourself so that you can get some practice within the assignments. So go ahead, look at your Synergy, and then set up the Synergy assignment types in groups within your Sandbox. So again, you're pausing now and following this Turnitin. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and move on to assignment submission types. Canvas Assignments offers a variety of ways for students to submit their work. It's important for the instructor to consider the assignment format, workflow, and how it will be graded when choosing your assignment type in the assignments. The following assignment types are available on assignments, and there's a lot more of these inside of Canvas than what we had available inside of Schoology, but this really makes a lot more sense, and it makes your workflow a little bit easier and student workflow a little bit easier as well. So your assignment types are no submission. And we're going to talk about when we would use each of these in just a moment, but I'm just going to quickly review what they are. There's no submission. There's submission online, which is going to give you options of how you want them to submit it online. Submission type 3 is on paper, and submission type 4 is external tool. This will be something like if you want them to turn in a PlayPosit or Google assignment or some other external tool that integrates into Canvas. So let's look a little more deeply at this. So assignment types, just for some clarification, no submission. So this would be an activity that students aren't submitting inside of Canvas. So this could be in a foreign language class. This might be an oral exam. So there's no submission of paper or any type of material thing. You are just listening to how they speak the language and then putting a grade in. It will put a column inside of your grade book and put an assignment on their calendar so they see that that oral exam is coming up, even though they're not physically going to be submitting anything. On paper, very similar. The students are completing maybe a worksheet, or they're turning in a poster board or some other physical assignment, and you're not going to be getting anything from them inside of Canvas. Again, this creates a column inside of your gradebook and assigns a due date for the assignment, and it'll put it on the student's calendar as don't forget that paper or project is due, but doesn't give them a place to put in a submission. It's good to differentiate these so that Canvas knows next is online, and the students have the option of using a text entry, using a URL, submitting an audio or video file, or uploading some other sort of file. And you can put restrictions on how they turn things in so that they turn it in the way that you want them to. And then lastly, like I mentioned, is external tools. So things that integrate into Canvas that give grading options such as PlayPosit, a Google assignment, some other tools that integrate in are shown here. So creating an assignment inside of Canvas, why use Canvas for this? It is so important to mention to the students and point out where these things are to them as they're getting used to it. But that Canvas calendar and that Canvas to-do list are going to be students' best friends if they learn how to use them effectively. And so we want them to create that autonomy, and it's very important that you remind them of this as they're getting used to Canvas. Online assignments are a quick way to get things from them, a quick way to grade things in SpeedGrader, which we're going to look at here in a moment. External tools like Google Drive assignments, and which is now going to be called Google LTI, Play Pause It. All of those things are going to work really well inside of here to integrate in grades. That option to use Canvas grading Passback is going to be invaluable to a lot of teachers and save a lot of time. Graded items can be filtered to message to students who haven't submitted things if they scored less than an 80% or less than a particular amount of points. You can filter and message those students, which hopefully I'll have time to show you here at the end. And then options available for submission types, peer review, group assignments are also options that we didn't have inside of Schoology that are going to be great here inside of Canvas. So let's take a look at these. Here are my assignments. Right now, the assignments that I've created down here, right now they're just shells. I didn't add anything to them. I just created the assignment types. So these are there, and then we're going to take a closer look at the options for those assignments. So if I come back in here, week 1 opener, if I want to look at that. Right now my week 1 opener is just a shell. I'm going to click edit and put it back into editing mode so I can add to it. I have my rich text editor, quite similar to what I had inside of Schoology, where I can change the font sizes and font options. Here, bolds, font color, highlight color, adding external links if I'd like, adding images if I'd like, adding multimedia, uploading documents in here as points of reference. So if there's a notes page I want them to be able to use, icon maker we'll get into later. You can also add this Google app will bring in Google Documents that are just for students to view. So if your notes are inside of Google and you want them to be able to look at the notes or the PowerPoint from the assignment, that you can bring up from apps and add that in. So here are the notes that students can use for this assignment, and I have it embedded. I could also have just put it in as a link. Students can open it up bigger with inside of here if they want to as well. This is not a Google Drive assignment. This isn't going to make a copy for each student. This is for informational purposes only. And then I can go into what the assignment is here. And you can also put in YouTube and a variety of other options. So this is where I'm putting in what the assignment is. Here are my points. So this is my assignment group that this goes under points. Your sync to SIS would come in here as an option too inside of a Synergy populated course. This is not that. This is a sandbox, so we're not seeing. Here's where our submission type is. So if I'm collecting something online, I would click that. On paper, no submission, this is where I use these options. So if I want them to submit something online, I can decide, oh, they're only adding a text entry of what their goals are for the week or something like that. They can just type it straight into a text box similar to this, and no other options are needed. If it's some URL that they are giving me, or I don't care which one they use, then I can use as many options or as few options as needed. If I'm fine with them submitting, or I've asked them to submit a media recording and they can voice record or text me the entry, then those are what I want. File upload. This is if they're uploading a file. If I want to restrict it so that they can only send me a doc file, then I would put doc in. Or maybe I only want them to be able to upload a PDF. That's where I restrict the file type here. That will be useful in some classes and not useful at all in others. So it's up to you as to what they do. If you don't want to restrict file type and they just give you any file type, that's fine too. Let's say for the purposes of this weekly icebreaker goal sheet, I just want them to be either to text me or to even speak it in and do a media recording. Submission attempts, how many attempts do I want to allow them? I'm gonna allow 2 attempts because maybe we do this on Monday and then they want to change what their goals are midweek, and I'm okay with that. Well, I'll give them 2 attempts. Some more advanced options that you may not use immediately but may want to dive into a little bit later are group assignments and peer-reviewed assignments. This also allows you, like Schoology did, to assign it to everyone, or I can just assign it to one student who needs an alternate assignment for the class for whatever reason. It is important to note that if you are using grade Passback, it has to be assigned to everyone. I would have to enter grades in individually for anything that's not assigned to everyone. Here's where I set my due dates. You can do from or until, or just the due date, and this is how it goes onto the student's calendar. And then here at the bottom, I have my save and publish, or just save, and for now I'm just going to hit save. We then have the document that I added, which I probably should have just done as a link, and then any directions I had below it of what they would be doing with that, and the points, how they can submit, and how many attempts they have, and what the due date is. And so there's also an option here at the bottom, let me scroll down a little bit, where I can also create a rubric. So rubrics are great here. You can use school rubric, PLC rubrics that you share, or just individual rubrics that you want to use, all options as well. All right, let me go back. So now I'd love for you to explore creating assignments. So go into your sandbox course, go to your assignments on the left nav and click the add assignment button and add an assignment within one of your assignment groups. And go ahead and read through these and add those on your own. All right, now that you have had a chance to create an assignment, let's look at what that assignment looks like from student view. So what you're going to do here is go back into your Canvas course, and at the top of the assignment, you're going to look at it from the student view at the top. So back inside of Canvas, I'm gonna hit assignments, open an assignment. This is the assignment we just created. It's important before we go into student view to make sure this is published, because students will only be able to see published assignments. So I'm going to publish this so that I can look at it. And now I'm going to hit student view. And so this is what it'll look like for my students. They'll see that they have multiple attempts, 2 attempts allowed. This is their first attempt, how many points it's worth. And then I told them that they could submit either through text or through multimedia. So this is where they would come to choose how they want to submit the assignment. So I'm going to hit text. It's giving them that rich text editor down below. They would enter their assignment, answering the questions, blah, blah, blah. They also could add pictures, other media within here if needed, and they have those same rich text editing options that you have as the teacher. Once they are finished, they'll come down and they'll submit that assignment. It gives them the confetti, which is always fun. And so once you have looked at it from student view, once you have submitted here in student view, I'm going to leave student view. So you are going to now pause the video, go into student view, complete the assignment, and submit the assignment. When you have done that, you are going to go ahead and push play again, and we'll continue on. Great. We now have an assignment that's been submitted. So the next step would be, as the instructor, to grade the assignment. So we use SpeedGrader to view and to grade assignments. So let's look at how that is done. So as the teacher, I would come in and click SpeedGrader. So SpeedGrader is here. These are my students, and I will see the dot for any student that has submitted something that hasn't been graded. Anyone who has nothing next to their name hasn't submitted anything. And then once I have graded something and the student is finished being graded, then it will turn into a check mark, which we'll see here in just a moment. SpeedGrader, you do have some options. So this first one is to go straight to the gradebook and see how something looks there. You also have the eye here. The eye here, we can turn off and hide grades being posted. So maybe I'm grading things as the students are turning things in, and I don't want a student to see their grade at that moment, not hide the grades as they're going on. And then here on the gear are your other options. It took me forever to figure this out, but these options will allow you to sort the students' names up here that at the top that I was showing you. So I can sort by the dates they submitted. I can just keep the kids in alphabetical order, which I believe is the default, or I can have it sort by submission status. So all the ones that need graded at the top and all the ones that are not submitted at the bottom. I mean, that truly is what to me makes it speed grader, is the ones that I can see them sorted by what I need graded, and then the ones that are already graded fall to the bottom. So let me show you that. So needs graded. Save settings. So it's a little harder to tell the difference here inside of this class that only has a test student and a real student, but I'm going to quickly move over to another course. So in this course, I have 5 students that need to be graded. All 5 students are up here at the top. Initially, in this course that has over 100 teachers, I was having to scroll down looking for the dots of who needs graded because I didn't realize there were things in that gear because I didn't see them right away. But now I can just go through the ones that need graded, quickly give them their grade. It changes to the check mark and I go on to the next student. I can give her her grade. The student gets a check mark. I can go on to the next student and quickly move through these students rather than trying to figure out whose needs graded and who doesn't. And now I came to one that doesn't have the dot, and I know I've graded my 5 if I wasn't counting as I went along. So very helpful to use that filtering system here inside of your gear and your options. Another option that you have inside of Speed Grader is to add comments. So let's say that this student didn't give me purposeful goals, or it's just not the answer I'm looking for. They're not on target. If I have to give them a 3, I'm going to want to explain why they got a 3 and how they can fix this, because they do get another attempt. So I'm going to add a comment here. So I can go ahead and give this to the student and they'll also see this. I can also voice record my explanation. So maybe I have a lot to say and I don't want to type it all out. I'm going to do speech recognition. Record. Nice attempt. I appreciate it, but I'm looking more for you to explain to me what your thinking was when you heard XYZ. For the most part, that came out really good. I think I was still talking before when I hit play, so it didn't know what was happening. But there's the I appreciate it, blah, 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 which may not be something I'd actually say. And then I'd hit submit, and that will show up on the student's homepage, and I'll show you where in just a moment. One last option I want to show you is there's also a reassign. So you can reassign any assignment to the students, but one thing that has to happen is there has to be a comment made here in comments for this attempt before it will allow me to reassign. That reassign also works even if you have one attempt. So maybe in general you want them to only have one attempt, but this student really didn't hit on what I needed them to. I can still reassign it to that student and give that student a second attempt. All right, going back to our course, go ahead, pause this, go into your sandbox, grade the fake student submission that you just did for that assignment, and go through these check boxes. Once you're finished, go ahead and push play again, and we'll move on the student's dashboard. They'll see their courses, they'll see their to-do list. For you as the teacher, it's how many things you need graded in each one of your groups. For students, it'll be what assignments they need to complete. It also has a section here that is recent feedback. So for that fake student that I just had, that comment that I left that they needed to retry, that would show up down here. So this is another place that we want to draw students' attention to, so they know that this is somewhere they need to be looking for feedback on assignments that we turn back into them, or that just any in general feedback that we provide to them. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me and I'd be happy to answer. Your ITSs at your schools are also a wealth of knowledge and know all of these same things that I just went over. So if you need clarification on anything that I've gone over, or you still have some burning questions, please reach out to either your ITS or to myself to get this clarification. Thank you so much.